Hey guys, it's me, the Afro Hamurai, back from randomly finding new employment, and I'm here to talk to you about this right here. This is the Volca Drum. If you haven't seen me talk about it before, then welcome to my channel. I did talk about this, comparing it to the TR6S, but I've kind of understood it a lot more now that I have a Volca Beats and I've gone back to this. So in this video, I'm gonna show you a little bit as to the sound that you can get from it, give you my ideas on it now that I've had a bit more time to rediscover it. But first, I'm gonna explain to you why this isn't a drum machine. I know it's weird, it's called the Volca Drum and it's not really a drum machine, but hear me out. Let me go and get some other stuff real quick. Inside here is in fact a TR6S, and the TR6S is a rhythm performer, but in a standard sense is a drum machine. It has 6 tracks on it. Each of those are for individual types of sounds, so a bass drum, a snare drum, and so on and so forth. The TR6S, you can kind of put different sounds onto stuff, so you could make it all snares if you wanted to, but it's kind of made to be a drum machine. You have one track, one section for each sound, and you're working within that sort of remit to make your drum beat. This is a Volts box that I got really cheaply on Amazon because it fits stuff. It has all of its sounds set up in separate tracks. You can change the parameters of the sounds, so you can change the pitch of the kick drum. You can change the snappiness of the snare drum. I also had this modified and they added a little flick so I could have the nice snare adjustment mod so that I didn't accidentally break it or something like that. I think that's the biggest distinction between what the Volca Drum is, which is a digital percussion synthesizer, and what things like the Volca Beats and the TR6S and other stuff like that are, which are drum machines. Those are made purely to make drum sounds, your kicks, snares, and so on. The Volca Drum really doesn't have that as its main focus. You can kind of just make whatever you want on it. By default, it comes loaded with lots of different drum sounds. However, if you wanted to, nothing would stop you just making random whoops, random like noise, signally sort of things. You could make it all snares, you can make it do tonal stuff. It's really a lot more powerful than it leads you to believe. I thought I'd build an example of what it could sound like using my time on the tube, my time on the bus as I'm going to and from work, to make a drum beat, come up with some pattern ideas that work with it, and essentially take it with the Volca Nubass and work on something with it. So let's have a listen and see what it's like. Now the Volca Drum uses Korg's newer style of sequencer that they put on the Volcas, which basically makes it, really good. The biggest thing that annoyed me about the Volca Beats is that step jump didn't work the way that I expected it to. It jumped to the step, but didn't kind of keep track of where it was in the background. So if you let go while you were doing step jump on the Volca Beats, it just kind of went from where you were, and sometimes that'll be out of time. Whereas with the Volca Drum, it behaves exactly as you'd expect it to. That sounds like a small thing, but it is a very big thing when you want to use it for actual drumming and actual just exploration. It also has probability, you have slice, you have accents, you have the ability to record motion onto anything that is see-through. It's really very fun to use, genuinely. Let's talk about some of the things I don't like about the Korg Volca Drum, and the first bit is its I/O, which is still limited, right? The difference here is that you have stereo, so you can put the kicks onto your left channel, you can put everything else into your right channel, so that if you're recording this into something like a computer and you're using it for actual production, you'd still have a way to sidechain without having to use, like curves and envelopes and having to do some messy stuff. You can still isolate things if you need to in that way. I'm sure that there's a way you could get MIDI out working from this, I'm not going to because I don't want to hurt this and I don't want to have a random cable just popping out of it. I really like its form factor, and also it looks really nice, right? There isn't a way to map the decay and other parameters of the waveguide to your current tempo. So regardless of what your tempo is, there isn't a way to tell exactly where something like a quarter or an eighth or a 16th is if that's what you're looking for in terms of an echo. But then you can also just listen and adjust it, and once you figured out what you want, just leave it there, save everything else into a preset that is on there. You can just overwrite whatever's there, and then you're kind of done, right? So you can still get around it. It's not impossible to deal with. It's just a little bit annoying. It'll be a bit more fun if you did have a way to slam it to certain values like you do with the stutter effect from the Volca Beats. All of those downsides, however, come from the fact that this is like tiny. Now let's answer two questions, because this was on Bad Gear by Audio Pills. Do I think it's bad gear? No, I think it's brilliant. I love this thing. It's great. Everyone should have one. Well, like most people should have one. At least 30% of people who care about music production should have one. Maybe 20. Let me know what you think though. Do you agree? Do you think the Volca Drum's really good? Do you dislike it because it doesn't really have an ease to get into it without you having to sit down for quite a while? Or are you thinking of getting one but you just think they're maybe overpriced on the used market? I don't know. Tell me, innit? Yeah. Cool.